Now, cast your mind back to 1997. You can. No, of course you can. Yes, well, 1997 was a wonderful year for, some might say, one of the last bastions of the golden age of television. Yes, because it was that year that a royal favourite literally took to the airways for the first time. We're talking about Midsomer Murders, and if you're a fan, you're in for a treat. As ever, let me explain. Morning, nice to see you. Thank you so much as ever for your time today. This was a royal favourite, you know. Yeah, it was a big favourite of Queen Elizabeth, and even Prince Philip could be persuaded to sit down. But apparently, according to that source, he said, who would want to live in a place like that? People are getting murdered left, right and centre. Why would you buy a house in Badger's Drift? And I think that's where that story came from, because apparently I don't know whether he told somebody at some event, but it sort of went round, and you kind of think he did have a point. Of course, Midsomer Murders is everything we like about the England that we think exists, but sadly very fading fast. Of course, created many, many years ago now, as I say, 1997, starred the brilliant actor John Nettles, right? Now, John was basically known for many people as being the boyfriend in The Liverbirds, remember that? And also making Bergerac and Jersey his own. Wonderful series that, and John is a lovely man. Sadly, he retired as Barnaby in 2010, and it's had a succession of people. I've been lucky enough to interview quite a few of the stars of Midsomer Murders, and as I said, it was the one show apparently that the Queen really liked to sit down, particularly with her mom as well. You know, they'd sit and watch it because they just like to work out the whodunit. Big fan of Agatha Christie's, also the royals, yes. And what was interesting about that is, when you look, you realise that a lot of people got their big break on that show, including now big stars like Henry Cavill, Orlando Bloom, and so many other fabulous guest stars that they've had in along the way. That was the power of the show. Now brace yourselves, because if you are over here in the United Kingdom, starting around about October time, going into 2026, there's going to be the very first stage edition of Midsomer Murders, The Killings at Badger's Drift, put together expertly, of course, by Caroline Graham. Now, what I think is good about this is going to be, I think, on par with something like The Mousetrap, you know. It could run and run because there's so many stories. Now, a lot of people are saying, well, how will they create this on the stage? Well, they do The Mousetrap brilliantly, don't they, you know? And, of course, they've done other various Agatha Christie's throughout the years, so why not this? So I think they're onto something of a winner. And before you ask, I'm not endorsed, I'm not sponsoring, I'm not an ambassador. I like to share things that I find. And finally, I think there could be something at the theatre well worth going to see. Now, apparently, though, you know, I always find this sort of stuff fascinating, because according to a very well-placed source, when it was the Queen's Diamond Jubilee, they suggested to Her Majesty that maybe she'd like to open a fete on that particular year's special episodes. And she kind of was keen, as you can imagine, you know, because let's not forget, she ended up being a Bond girl, so that really appealed to her. But apparently at the 11th hour, they thought, well, best not, because of course you can't really have our brilliant monarch associated with all those killings, murders and all that sort of stuff. So it was very much politely declined. But can you imagine the Queen opening a fete and 5 minutes later, you know, Inspector Barnaby, there's a murder, you know, it doesn't really suit well, does it? I think probably one of the only things that she decided in that particular era to turn away from, which would have been a shame, but then, of course, she gave us Bond and she gave us Paddington. If you're a fan, as I say, of Midsomer Murders, do look out for the dates. It starts, as I say, in the Richmond Theatre, I think October time, but you'll see all the dates here at the side, and just check it out on the website. Finally, something I think for us Midsomer Murders aficionados and huge fans around the world to enjoy. And maybe this could even end up on Broadway. Who knows? Neil Sean in the very heart of London.